presented by the Equity and Belonging team within the Office of Equity. So we are a team of consultants, of PEAR consultants, which is pro-equity, anti-racism consultants, and shared power consultants. So Amber and I are both shared power consultants, and we'll go a little bit into detail about that. But we are part of the Equity and Belonging team within the Office of Equity. So thank you for joining us. So brief introductions. Want to say my name is Ranisha Larkins. Ranisha, I know full transparency, I have braces, just received them, just got them tightened. So I am working on pronunciating my words better and speaking more slowly. So if I am talking fast and I am not or you cannot understand me, just drop it in the chat or message me, whichever one. I am working on my pronunciation with my braces. So just wanted to put that out there. Ranisha Larkin, she, her pronouns. I'm a shared power consultant here with the Office of Equity. My pronouns are she, her, and I use the non-traditional neo pronoun of diva. So just want to say thank you again for being here. I am located in Kitsap County, specifically Bremerton area. I've lived here for 9 years, and the picture that is presented on a screen and or my physical description is I am a caramel complected African-American cisgender woman with a burgundy shirt with black and purple hair, and I have diamond earrings in. And I'll pass it over to Amber, my co-host.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. My name is Amber Ortiz-Diaz. I use she, her, pronouns. I'm also a shared power consultant along with Ranisha and our wonderful team. I have long black hair and I'm wearing a colorful traditional Mexican blouse. And I'm just really, really excited to have you all here and keep the introductions going in the chat. We'll close them here momentarily, but just welcome everyone. And I'm residing in Yakima, Washington. So if anybody's from Yakima, love to see it. And I'll go ahead and pass it over to our team member, Sabrina.
Hello, can everybody see me and hear me? Because I can't see myself, so this is weird. We're good?
Yeah, you're good, Sabrina.
There
I
we
added
go.
your slide as well.
Good morning / almost afternoon, everyone. My name is Sabrina Jaroge. My pronouns are she, her, and they. I am a light-skinned Black woman with black rimmed glasses. I too have braces. Today they are pink with a cream-colored shirt and red, pink, and black flowers all over. I will be helping out in the chat today, so if you have any issues with audio or anything like that, just reach out to me and let me know, and I will help you shortly. Thank you.
Thank you for that introduction. I'm not sure if Jean is available or if he is on yet. Jean, there you go. Okay, I will spotlight you as well. Give your introduction as well.
All right, thank you so much, Ranisha. Can you hear me? Good, good,
Yes.
good. Hello, everyone. My name is Jean-Paul, he, him, his pronouns. I am also a shared power consultant with the Office of Equity. On the image on the screen here, I am wearing dark blue blazer with a light blue tie, white shirt. I have glasses on, they're kind of like brown frame and short hair. That is kind of what I look like on the screen. Kind of very similar, but I'm not wearing a blazer right now as I'm speaking. But happy to be here. Looking forward to being community with you all. Also, we'll be in the chat. So if you have any questions or you need a little bit more resources from the office, I will be here on the chat available, and looking forward to being community with you all. Thank you so much for joining us. I will pass it back to you, Ranisha or Amber. Take it away.
Thank you, Jean-Paul. Just wanted to say we have a lot of love coming in the chat. Thank you for that. It seems like Amber, you're getting a lot of love from the Yakima side. So thank you for everybody just saying where you're from, what you ate for breakfast, where you're joining us from, whether that's an agency, organization. Keep dropping it in the chat if you haven't. It's great. What we will do with that is towards the end, we will save the chat so that we can understand where the representation is coming from. So would like to say thank you for that as well. Take it away, Amber.
Yeah, so we're gonna kick us off with this quote from the government advancing race and equity. So I'm gonna go ahead and read this off. So change will not occur if just one person or department is assigned the duties of advancing equity. Teams within every department must be sufficiently knowledgeable, equipped with the necessary tools, and given responsibility for incorporating racial equity policies and processes into their regular job duties if a jurisdiction is to advance its goals successfully. So I'm going to go ahead and give you all just a moment to either reread this, reflect on this, and when you hear this quote, what does this mean to you? What are you hearing? What are you seeing? What are you feeling? And I would love to just read off some responses in the chat. So we'll just give a moment for reflection.
I'm feeling, can I get an amen from the choir? That was equity is everyone's responsibility. Absolutely. Absolutely. They're coming in hot. So it takes a village, not an individual. Absolutely. True statement. 100 from Shauna. Absolutely. We all have responsibility. All of us or none of us. I love that one. All of us or none of us. Co-creation, our favorite word here. We must stand together. Absolutely. We all have work to do together. That's from Lenora. Absolutely. Nothing about us without us. Yes, Nick. Get my snap going. Responsibility and accountability. Absolutely. Absolutely. And they're going a bit fast, so strength in numbers. So I'm trying to read the ones that I can read fastly, very quickly. Absolutely. Together we can and will. Absolutely. Absolutely. No time for silence. What were some ones that stood out to you, Amber?
Yeah, no, they're all coming in pretty hot. So, culture doesn't change because of a few people to realize our vision, the tipping point. If equity isn't the central work, are we really serving the public? Strength in numbers. Yes, they're all coming in.
Absolutely.
Yes, every person has a responsibility in their position to do better when they know better and have a commitment to knowing better. Nice.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes, this
So
is
feel
great.
free. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say this is great. Keep them coming.
Exactly. Read my mind exactly. And even if something resonates with you and your mind changes by the end of this community of practice or this kickoff event, drop it in the chat. We are people that are truly trying to make something that is flexible and fluent and adaptable. So what this quote may mean to you right now may be something completely different towards the end of this kickoff event. So just know that we're functioning in the mindset of flexibility, and we're functioning in the mindset of completely trying to be transformative. So just wanted to open that with this quote. So now that we have kind of dropped it in the chat, what this community of practice is about, we're going to talk about the purpose of the community of practice. This community of practice ideally was designed to increase understanding, increase skill set, and increase capacity building, right? So you may ask, okay, so what is increased understanding of what? Increased skill set of what? Increased capacity building of what? That is what we're here to create. So those three primary purposes are fluent. They're flexible, right? So we don't have all the answers, But that's what we're here for in community, to understand, what does understanding look like? How do we increase understanding? How do we increase skill set? And how do we increase capacity building here within the Office of Equity and as a state, as Washington State? So that is what co-creation looked like. So yes, we left them open to interpretation because that's what we want to do within this community of practice, is develop that co-creation, develop that understanding of skill set, capacity building. So that is the purpose of this COP. So if you hear us say COP, that's what we're referring to, community of practice. But it's to develop Washington State into a pro-equity, anti-racism, or PEAR ecosystem. And ideally embedding the PEAR framework. And so I know we have some community partners here as well, but we have our PEAR plan and playbook that we will drop in the chat as well. And this was ideally developed out of Executive Order 2204. So when we talk about PEAR ecosystem, when we talk about PEAR plan and playbook, this is what we're referring to. We're referring to the PEAR plan and playbook, and we will drop that in the chat as well. The PDF copy in the chat as well. So just wanted to kind of reiterate that for community folks that we may have within the space, because this space is open not only to state workers, but community and non-state workers as well. So here we go. Take it away, Amber.
Thanks, Ronisha. So some of y'all might be asking, why am I here, or how did I get to this? How did I get this invite, right? So essentially, you are a DEI practitioner, you're a PEAR consultant, you're an equity manager, or maybe equity is in your title, or you're doing equity work, or you're a community leader trying to ensure that equity is being embedded into your organization, into your community, or just all around where you are. So you are someone who strives to make Washington the first state dedicated to true PEAR outcomes. So the strength is in numbers. I heard somebody say that in the chat. And really, we're striving to co-create with you all. We want to collaborate with you all, and really knowing that we don't have all the answers, and things evolve and change. And we want to be able to just hear each other out, be authentic, transparent. And we really want to just provide that space. And that just we're open, right? And we're open to hearing feedback, creating these feedback loops. And so if you have other folks in mind that perhaps are not in the room with us, invite them, have them come. And we definitely want to just make this be an open space where we can all co-create and collaborate together. Anything that I missed, Ronisha, that you'd like to add?
No, that was perfect, Amber. I would even just add that I know Nicole Johnson just dropped in the chat. Change comes from support of all levels of participation within agencies and alongside community. So yes, that is why this group is open. That is why this community practice is statewide, because we don't want to be closed off. We want to be alongside with community. So yes, absolutely. Also, Jeremy stated there are so many tools, policies, and solutions being developed at agencies. And I feel like we could really do better if we work across agencies to address common challenges, not to create universal approaches, but to be better to achieve targeted strategies with each community we serve. That right there, if I could put that on a poster or on a t-shirt, that's exactly what it is. That is exactly why we're here, and that's exactly what this community of practice is about, right? And so Jeremy's getting a lot of love right there from that, from what they said. But ideally, what Jeremy just said is what we're trying to do here. That is ultimately the goal. We can't talk about working for the people or public service or being public servants to the community if we're not working alongside the communities that we're served. Definitely put it on t-shirts and posters. Absolutely. You'll get quoted for it. We'll send you a check in the mail for it, Jerry. So absolutely. But that's what we're here for. That is what we're trying to do here. We don't have all the answers, but we're hoping with this community of practice or COP that we will develop answers, that we will develop strategies and best practices that we can then take back into our respective communities as well. Okay, so when we talk about the history of this community of practice. We're going to start with from May 2023. And the reason why we're starting from May 2023 is because Amber and I are fairly new to the office. I've only been in the Office of Equity for a year now, exactly a year as of tomorrow. So we're going to start from there just because that is somewhat of a good starting point. And then we'll take you through kind of a flow or the process of how we got here today with the COP kickoff, right? So strap down, buckle your seatbelts. I'm going to take you all for a ride really quick, right? So May 2023 was when we potentially started the Office of Equity took over the Interagency Community Engagement Collective. Whew, that is a mouthful. So I'm going to say ICEC. ICEC for short, right? Okay, so the Office of Equity took over the ICEC, which was a group of practitioners, state practitioners that worked towards breaking down silos, that shared events, shared activities that they have created within their workspaces. ICEC was ultimately created by Department of Health and DSHS, right? So they created this space where we invited other people to join. We did a couple of, we had a couple of events where we talked about best practices. That was the kickoff for how we began our community of this community of practice, right? So moving on to June 2023, Real Talk is going on. So when we talk about Real Talk series, what we're referring to is a series that was put on by the Office of Equity, and they had monthly themes, but ultimately we will have a panel that came in and talked about those themes that were discussed. And within that strategy, it wouldn't be, or within the Real Talk series, it wouldn't be recorded. So people would just freely say whatever they wanted to, however they wanted to, but it was a space to promote real dialogue, real conversation in real time, right? So that was the Real Talk series. Lay said, I love the Real Talk. Yeah, a lot of people love Real Talk. And a lot of people were sad to see Real Talk go in December 2023, right? So when we ended Real Talk, Megan Matthews, our executive director, was ultimately charged up and she said, what is next? What is next to come? So that was the development of this community of practice. That was where we said, okay, what do we do now? How do we keep this momentum that we have? And how do we keep it going? Sonia, I'm not sure if I'm saying your name right. This is not to replace Real Talk. It's not replacing Real Talk. What it is a revamp, right? So we're incorporating some of the themes from Real Talk and putting it into this community of practice where we're going to model real talk, real conversations, real time in real time. So not necessarily Real Talk, but some of the same aspects of Real Talk in the sense that we're going to have those crucial conversations. We're going to have those dialogues. We're going to have those discussions. And like Mark just said, nothing could ever replace Real Talk. So we're not trying to replace Real Talk here. We're just trying to incorporate some of those same aspects and the best aspects of Real Talk into this community of practice. So we want people to come in and be their true authentic selves, right? So there will be times where during the community of practice where we're not recording, but we're recording right now so that people can understand this kickoff event and what this event is. So that's why we're recording right now. But Real Talk series was not recorded. So there will be times where we have discussions where it's not recorded because we want people to speak freely. We want people to have that understanding that if they want to express something, then they can, right? So that's what we mean by the Real Talk series and taking some of those aspects from the Real Talk series as well. So moving forward to February 2024, ICEC was canceled and then the planning began for this COP, right? So we came to the conclusion, what's next? What are we working on? And that's when we kind of incorporated having a statewide community of practice. We didn't want something that was closed off. We wanted something that was open to everyone because that is the idea of co-creation and working alongside, as someone stated earlier. And then now, April 2024, we ultimately sent out the first invite. So if you were either on the Real Talk series subscriber list, or if you were on the ICEC subscriber list for our Gov delivery messages, that is why you received that message. That is why you received the first initial invite to join this community of practice, which leads us to today, the kickoff event for this community of practice. And I'll pass it over to Amber.
Thanks, Renisha. I am seeing some folks say in the chat that Real Talk was super important, and just wanting to reiterate that the highlights of Real Talk and being able to really have community practice, those lessons learned, right? Be able to embed those into the community practice. That's essentially one of our goals. But here, for our community of practice, knowing that we have 3 goals, we're going to start with these 3 goals, and these goals might evolve, right? So things might evolve later on, but right now we're starting with these 3 goals. So working together to identify determinants of equity and to bridge gaps in programming. So essentially, our PEAR plan and playbook, how do we create a bridge to not be siloed and to work together, right? So that's really working together. And our goal number 2, statewide network and collaboration through recruitment and engagement. Some folks are saying, I want to invite folks to this space, please. We want you all to be engaged and really have this space to be able to just collaborate and strengthen numbers, right? And our goal number 3, going back to goal number 2, some agencies are already doing really great work. They're already having, work that they want to share, or that they want to inform others about, and same with community. So that really goes into that goal number 2. And goal number 3, discussing best practices for PEAR ecosystems in community engagement and state enterprise. So how we co-create, how-to, like what are the toolkits, what are the tools that we need in our toolkit, and just knowing that these are our goals that we're starting with, but they can evolve. So anything else you'd like to add, Renisha?
I will even go further just to add that goal 2 and 3 sound very similar, but just to plain talk it a little bit. When we talk about goal 2, we're talking about the things that are already occurring. We're talking about, okay, within your organizations, what are you currently working on? What are you currently doing, right? So when we talk about recruitment and engagement, we're talking about understanding what is already going on in your agencies. Now, when we discuss goal 3, simply put, or simply stated, we're talking about creation and the aspect of co-creation, and how do we discuss the best practices, and how do we create the best practices, right? So what might that look like? That might look like going forward. Sometimes, right now we have upwards of 300 people. Maybe we'll do some breakout rooms, right? Maybe we'll have those talks, those discussions in those breakout rooms, and then we bring them back to the group. But ultimately, this statewide is a massive platform to talk about how can we as a unit, not just the Office of Equity, not just state agencies, but us as a team of Washingtonians, how can we develop the best practices for pro-equity and anti-racism ecosystems? That's what we're referring to, simply put. Go ahead, Amber.
Yeah, and I think one thing that I would like to highlight is just like when we speak about community, and Ronisha will go a little bit more into depth on this on the next slide, but when we talk about community, it's not just like your team, right, where you work. It's also like community outside of work, your friends, maybe it's a community that you found, maybe you're new to Washington, right, and you know how to create that community. So yeah, so when we think of community, I just want to make sure that we think about it like in a more holistic realm, more just because for me, I'm coming from the nonprofit sector, and community for me really is outreach and working with families, right? So when we're thinking about community, just thinking about it on a bigger scope. But yeah.
Absolutely. Amber, it's Kimberly stated you sound low, so you might have to speak up a little bit. Thank you for that, Kimberly. Am I okay? I'm a little bit loud, so just know. Okay, thank you. It's like, okay, don't yell at me. Got you. I will. I got y'all. So we'll move on to the next slide here. So these are the strategies for this community of practice. Be loud and proud. Absolutely, Lillian. I am that person. I am that. That's me, right? So when we talk about the strategies for this community of practice, what we're referring to is, if you look at it, it is it's this Venn diagram, simply put, this Venn diagram. We're looking at pro-equity, anti-racism. Like I said, we're referring to the 15 determinants of equity. So those are our service lines. Those are, okay, what agencies are doing. Those are ideally one of the fundamental strategies that we're trying to incorporate into this community of practice. So that's building a collaborative learning enterprise that has visions and missions of goals of the PEAR ecosystem, right? So going back a little bit, Amber alluded to the idea of what is community. And community is not a monolith, right? Community doesn't necessarily have to be just where you work at. Community can be where you live, your friends, whatever community sounds like to you or is to you, that's what we're referring to. So when we say community, it doesn't necessarily have to be work groups. It can be anything that you feel connected to. So that's what we're trying to do with this community practice. We're trying to make this a space, and we know that it's going to take time, and it's not going to be perfect, but we're trying to create a space where we can build community and ideally get to the root cause of all the issues. And it's not going to be perfect. We're not going to solve them in a day, but we're trying to have people engaged in this work that are going to be able to take it back into their communities, their respective communities, and get this work off the ground and keep the momentum alive for this work. And then relational partnership, which is Amber and I, Amber, myself, Jean Paul, Sabrina, that is our wheelhouse right there. We are shared power consultants. And in the words of Sabrina, relational partnership is what we do. Shared power consultants is who we are. Meaning what we do as our jobs is we push relational partnership. So we have a toolkit that we push out relational partnership. We have a workbook that talks about relational partnership in practice. We have videos. We have all of these things within our toolkit that help us to push out relational partnership. So we'll allude to that more later down the line, but we do have resources that are already created that will help with that. So with those three strategies in mind, in the middle, what we're trying to do is get to belonging. The goal is to get to belonging. And this is just a starter. This is a strategy. We know that strategies can develop and grow over time, but initially, this is just the starting point. We are excited to see where this grows and how it develops, but this is what we're trying to get to, right? I'll pass it over to Amber.
Yes, so a lot was said and a lot's happening in the chat. So just wanted to pause and just say, like, just super grateful for you all just showing up and feeling the energy. So some key takeaways of our kickoff, really what we want to kind of leave you with is, we want to co-create and collaborate with each of you. I mean, there's 300 folks in this room, but we want to make it happen. And I know that some folks are saying, like, maybe cohorts, and we want to be as authentic as possible and transparent. So, we are going to create this feedback loop. So we want to hear from you, and we want to integrate that in ways that we can be better and do better, right? We talk a lot about best practices, and I shared between government and community. Again, we define community, right? So we don't want to cause more harm to our communities. Really, we want to work with communities and listen to communities. And then have an aligned vision for making Washington the first equity and belonging state. And it sounds very optimistic, but I really do feel that we're taking that steps towards that. And then anything else you'd like to add, Renisha, on your key takeaways?
I'm reading the comments a little bit, and someone stated community is like an onion. There are lots of layers, and sometimes it makes you cry. That's a bar. And I just wanted to sit with that a little bit because I agree. I agree wholeheartedly that community is like an onion. They have their benefits. They have all of the things that you need. They go in everything. They're great for every recipe, but sometimes they can make you cry, right? Um, and it's simple, but it's very powerful. So thank you for saying that, because it does. But what we're trying to do here is we're trying to peel back those layers. We're trying to get to the root cause. And we're trying to do something that has never been done before, right? So just know that as well. I find it because it's moving so fast, but Nino said, I believe if we all really want to make the impact in racial equity we all desire, we are going to have to get uncomfortable and go outside our communities to create that change. Um, and absolutely, this is a space where we want to be uncomfortable. And if we aren't uncomfortable, this isn't the right space. But within this community of practice, we want this to be a safe space, and we know that that's going to take time. We know that it's not going to be easy, but we want that space. We want the understanding that people have the space to speak up. They have the space to say what they need to say, respectfully, of course, but we're not all going to agree. It's 300 people here. We're not going to all agree, but every voice needs to be heard. Look, JP, sorry. John is laughing at me. Insider, off script. Here we go. John is laughing at me because I will let you all know within the Office of Equity, we have banter like brothers and sisters, right? It's just, that's what it is. So Jean will just throw out an idea, and I'll just be like, I don't agree, or this can be this, but that is okay. We need to have those discussions. Sometimes we're not going to agree to disagree, like embrace ambiguity. Absolutely, we're not going to all agree, and that is okay within this community of practice. But with that discomfort is like they said, willingness to learn. How do we grow from that? How do we understand one another within a space? So yes, I don't want us to all agree. I don't want us to all get along, but I want us to understand that there's a shared purpose and a shared vision within this community of practice that's going to get us to the next spot or get us to the next level of creating an equity and belonging environment or a PEAR ecosystem within Washington State, right? So just wanted to put that out there. Sidebar. Sorry. I'm going back on script now. Amber, go ahead.
No, I think you wrapped the key takeaways nicely. And just something from the chat. We definitely want this to be a brave space, right? I think the realities of having safe spaces can ultimately feel uncomfortable, right? So just knowing that we do want you all to step into this brave space, and we do want to make this space where it's open and we can be transparent. And Ranisha, and this is a perfect example of her just being herself, being her true authentic self, right? We want everybody to really lean into that authenticity. I think sometimes we have to like code switch, right? So we want the community of practice to be the space where we want you to share what you want to share, right? Again, to Ranisha's points, respectfully, but really lean into that brave space. So yeah, I think we're good on this slide, Ranisha. We can go ahead and go to the next one.
Absolutely. So just I'm reading a lot of the chat, and you all are actually saying a lot of great things. And so I just want to kind of reiterate that we're leaning into discomfort. We're going to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, as Sharice stated. That's where growth happens. So all the things that you all are saying, that is what we're trying to do here, right? So it's creating a space of we're creating a safe space. We're creating a brave space, right? Also, want to throw out this PowerPoint. We will have, I think it's next week. What we will do is we will send out a thank you message. And included in that thank you message will be the PowerPoint, right? We will also, since this is being recorded, we will put this up on our YouTube, on the Office of Equity's YouTube channel, so that people that did not get to attend today, they will be able to see it, to say, okay, what is this about? What are they trying to sell us, right? We're not trying to sell y'all a dream. We're not trying to tell y'all that we're not trying to sell a dream. What we're trying to do is create change. And this is how we do it. So we're going to lead with vulnerability. We're going to lead with transparency, because that's what we're doing. And most importantly, we're going to lead with accountability, right? Because we know that harm has been created. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to change that. We're trying to fix that. We're trying to heal that ultimately. We're trying to heal that hurt, right? And that's going to take all of us. It's not going to take some of us. It's going to take all of us, as some of you all have already stated, right? So just want to put that out there again. So Amber, go ahead.
Yes, so this is our schedule for the COP. So to someone, I think someone asked in the chat if we were going to have a COP meeting in June. We will not be having a COP meeting next month due to Juneteenth, and we will also be a keynote speaker for the DEI Empowerment Conference. We'll send over some links to that as well if you'd like to register. So that's a really great opportunity for the Office of Equity, and we feel very honored to be able to speak at the DEI Empowerment Conference and be the keynote speaker. So the next time we will convene will be July 17th. And then, July through September. And then in October, we have our Office of Equity convening in Yakima, Washington. The information is on our website. We'll go ahead and put the link in the chat. So if you're from Yakima, please register. There'll be a lot of great information, workshops, and love that it's in my backyard. And then we will convene in November, and we won't convene in December, just due to lots of holidays happening that month. But we will send this PowerPoint out and make sure that you all have all the logistics. So anything that you would like to add, Ronisha, on the schedule?
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of logistics, someone asked, could you all put the link to join the next COP in the calendar invite? So in the newsletter, there was a link to register. The link will be the same regardless. So we will ask that you register, and we're asking that you're registering because that helps us with understanding who is our audience, who is attending. So that's why we're asking for you to register, because that helps us understand who's attending, what's the representation, ask a couple questions on your agency, if you're with an agency, a community partner. So that's why we're asking for you to register. If you do have issues where you have registered and you have not received the link after registering, then we will ask you to reach out to the Shared Power at equity.wa.gov email. Jean-Paul or Sabrina, can you all drop that one in the chat for us as well? But ideally, that's what we're going to ask. And then Heidi asks, is the start time 10:30 or 11? The start time is 11 o'clock for the CLP. We actually had a little bit of time on the front end, on the back end, just for questions, but the start time is 11 and it goes to 12:30. We know that sometimes we get into the zone, we're talking. So that's why we have a little bit time on the front end and on the back end, and for logistics as well. But the actual run of show and the actual time for the community of practice is dedicated 11 to 12:30 p.m. Teresa says, I think the issue is that the Zoom link and a separate meeting series registration link have different times. The Zoom starts at 10:30 and the meeting series starts at 11. Okay, absolutely. We will work on getting that fixed logistically, and we will work on that going forward as well. Thank you for bringing that to us as well, bringing that to our attention as well. Okay, so we've already started questions, right? So we're just going to go ahead. We have a lot of time, right? So that was our presentation. That was what you're getting from this space. Now we're going to stop recording.